long exposure photography and time lapses have a lot of things in common. And today we are going to talk about both. Right after the first take, it started to rain. But don't worry, we will keep on going. I am in the Italian Alps. Behind me, a beautiful mountain, which is surrounded and covered by dramatic clouds. The light is pretty horrible, but also very dramatic. This will help me to take maybe a more interesting time lapse and hopefully a nice long exposure at the same time. So as I was saying, long exposure photography and time lapses have a lot in common. For instance, what I like about both is that you are forced to spend time on location. Of course, you need to spend time on location before, just to scout around and understand which could be the best possible point of view and the best possible composition. But at the same time, while taking the time lapse and while taking the long exposure, you need to be there for quite a long time. Of course, both techniques do require a tripod. Of course, both techniques do require planning and timing. But what I like the most about long exposure photography and time lapses is the fact that the results will be something that our naked eye cannot see right in that moment. So these will involve our imagination, our interpretation of a place, our capability to anticipate what is going to happen. All the clips that you just saw have been shot with my iPhone and the Relapse app by Reflex, the same company that created the 𝗬𝗂 app. You might remember this video about taking raw long exposure photos with an iPhone. Let's see how easily we can take a time lapse just using our iPhone. So this is the Relapse main screen. On the right side, I have the possibility to control my ISO, and I can move my ISO up and down. When I take a time lapse, I usually like to keep my ISO as low as possible. I can control my shutter speed as well, but if I double tap on the screen, I will go on auto again. With the EV, I can just control the exposure. I can make my scene darker. I can make my scene a little brighter. I can also use the manual focus, and in this case I can have my focus peaking on in order to see exactly what in my scene will be in focus and what not. I can control the white balance, and I can control which lens to use. This is the ultra wide lens, this is the telephoto lens, this is the wide lens, which use 48 megapixel. I strongly suggest to use this lens. I can also, here on the right side, tap on max or 4K, where max will use the entire sensor space available. So I will have the opportunity then to crop my scene and create time-lapses movement while editing my time-lapse. I can use guidelines in order to better compose my frame, and I can also decide to use a shutter delay up to 20 seconds. I will use 3 seconds in this case. So let's compose the scene. I like to go a little higher because clearly nothing will happen in the bottom part of my scene. I will only be able to capture movements in the clouds. Let's see if I darken my composition a little bit. I will add a little more drama to my composition. At the same time, I noticed that while moving, my composition is not leveled anymore. Here it is. So now, the most interesting part. First of all, I need to decide how long I want my output. In this case, with 180 frames, I will have 6 seconds output. So let's say that I want 10 seconds. For 10 seconds, I need 300 frames. Now I can decide my interval. And the interval is a very simple thing. The faster is the movement, the faster will be my intervals. So if I'm in front of a scene that moves really fast, if my clouds are moving very fast, I don't need very long intervals. While if I'm, for instance, capturing clouds like this that are not moving really fast, I need longer intervals. Or for instance, if I want to capture the movement of the Milky Way, that, of course, will require much longer intervals. In this case, I feel that possibly an interval of 4 seconds will work. But here I can also add something very cool, which is the effects. The effects are divided between clouds and stars. In this case, clearly, we are taking a time lapse of clouds. By adding an effect of 2 seconds, I can add a motion blur to my time lapse without using neutral density filter. Of course, while adding these effects, also the capture time will increase. And in this case, I will need 35 minutes to create a 10 minutes time lapse. Shall we give it a try? Let's go. Now, since I have 35 minutes, I feel that I could and I should capture or try to capture a nice long exposure photo since I have nothing else to do. So if you want to try to take some time lapses with your iPhone, I highly recommend to give 𝗬𝗓𝗪 a try. As you saw, this app is packed with features that make the process of taking time lapses fun and professional. And by the way, if you want to try any of the Reflex product, you can use @𝗬𝗓𝗪15. This code will give you a 15% discount on any product that you purchase from their website. You will find a link in the description below. This is all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you will try to take some time lapses. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.